And we're
Yes,
live.
we're live.
Hello,
Yay.
everyone.
Hello. Hey, everyone.
Hi, everyone. How's everyone's day 2 of MCO 2.0?
Yes.
Day 2, that's right.
Yeah,
It's
very normal.
A full
feel
circle.
different.
We made a full circle.
Yeah, I can't believe it's not a year, but it feels like a year already, right?
It's almost like 10 months.
Oh yeah, the first one started end of March, right? Or mid-March, something like that.
Mid-March, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, well, I guess we're all used to working from home now, or being stuck at home at least. So hopefully it's a bit easier this time.
It's like same but not same. I think for me, having a kid, like I used to always send him out like to have activities. So now he's at home, like have to multitask work, and he's at home,
Right?
asking for attention.
I know what you mean.
We got a few people coming in already, joining us. So
everyone say hi.
Yes,
say hi
to
in
us
the comments. Yeah, this is streaming on like Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and if you actually say if you actually make a comment in the comment, we'll see it, just so you know.
Yeah.
So this is where we answer your career related questions live. So if you have any question related to your career, do ask them in the comments below, and then we'll pick it up, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We were just talking about people, MCO starting again. So we really want to know, our poll for today is: do you multitask when you're on a meeting or on an interview video call, right? Because just confession, I do.
I do. Yeah.
A bit rarer for me. I tend not to. But yeah.
Hi.
Usually the meetings are conducted by Derek, so he can't really multitask.
I really have to pay attention. Yeah.
I mean,
I got there.
No, I do my best to like focus, but then sometimes like there's like other people like chatting about something that they think is urgent, and it's like you have to just like quickly send them a reply and be like, okay, I'll get back to you later. Like
It's kind of like, I always picture it as like when you're having a meeting, right? It's like you're talking to a person, right? Like digitally, physically, you're talking to the person face to face. But now it's kind of like you're talking to the person, but at the side of the person's face, there's your phone over there notifying you of everything that's going on, everybody that's messaging you.
Yeah, because in office, like if you're in a meeting, no one's going to disturb you physically, right? No one's going to disturb you. Whereas like if you're in a meeting virtually, they don't know. So they're just texting you as if you're free, right? So you have to like make it known, like I'm busy.
Exactly.
For interview, it's a bit different. Like interview, you don't multitask, but like I think we've told people before, when you're having, let's say, a phone call interview or a video call interview, yes, you can have notes next to you, but when you're on a video interview, be mindful where you're looking at.
you put it right under the camera, so like when you're looking at it, it looks like you're looking at the camera. See,
even if you're putting like down here, like don't do this. It's very obvious. Be a bit discreet about it.
Yeah. So let us know, whether you're guilty of multitasking where you're on a meeting or when you're in an interview video call, right? So let's move on to before that actually, I want to let everyone know that you guys familiar with Don Quixote, the Japanese famous retail chain, has finally landed in Malaysia, known as Don Don Donki here in Malaysia. Some of you might have known them from Singapore as well. They have, I think, around 10 outlets in Singapore, but they're opening their first place now in Malaysia, and they're hiring for these 3 positions, right? Digital marketing executive, finance executive, and the inventory coordinator. So check them out at wobjobs.com/donki, and hope you'll apply to them if you find it suitable. Right. So with that being said, welcome everyone. Let us know whether you can hear us clearly.
Yes.
Say hi.
Say hi in the comments, or answer the poll in the comments, so we know what you think about multitasking while on a video call.
Yeah, please don't multitask when you're watching this.
You can.
Pay
you can.
attention.
All right.
Mhm.
Now let's move on to the first question, right? So the first one is, hi, what should I do if I realize a recruiter had reached out to me via my email, but I only found out about it 2-3 weeks later? You know, my email has a lot of spam and that email got buried. What do you guys think? And when I mean you guys, even the audience as well, do you think it's a bit too awkward to to respond 3 weeks later, or do you just let it sit there? Hopefully,
So I guess
nobody posts it.
it depends, right? So like if you're applying for jobs, then you should be actively checking your email. If you're actively applying to jobs, whatever the email addresses that you put on your CV, you need to be checking that email. Like I don't really think you can give an excuse like, oh, my email has a lot of spam. It's like, no, if you're applying for jobs, you need to be checking your email on the regular. But if this could also be a situation where like some recruiter, like a headhunter, reached out to them via email or via LinkedIn messaging. And that I think is a bit more understandable if you reply late. Like if you're a passive job seeker and you're being reached out to by headhunters and you're not actively applying for jobs, then it's understandable if you reply a couple weeks later. But if you're active and you're applying for jobs and a recruiter for a job that you applied for emailed you, then for me personally, 2-3 weeks is too long for the response.
Before going to what you should do after this happened, to prevent this from happening, you should use emails that you don't register for, say, vouchers, promotions for. For example, like you wouldn't use the email that you sign up on, I don't know, Zalora maybe, to apply for jobs, or on your LinkedIn. So the reason for this is because these platforms will send you promotions from time to time, right? And if you were to receive an important email in this email, it would be basically buried, like what you said here. But then I think like what Shakira said, 2 to 3 weeks may be a bit late, but I think no harm reaching out. At least, if the position is still open, there is no harm. Yeah,
no harm,
maybe you might.
sure. Yeah. But it doesn't make a very good impression to reply that late.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Eleanor's tip is actually very good. Like you should definitely have multiple emails for different purposes. Have one where everyone's going to spam you with promotions, and have one that's professional for like job applications and other formal purposes And make sure the formal one is not like some boylover_babe@yahoo.com or whatever. It's like your name, like Shakira Kavana at gmail.com.
Yeah, not the email, not the hotmail that you made when you were 13 years old for games, right?
No.
Yeah, so I think if you're actually applying for a job and then you missed an email inviting you for an interview, it is slightly embarrassing, admittedly. You should still reply though, but and sort of apologize for missing that email. And that's the best you can do, pretty much. I wouldn't make it a lengthy apology. I mean, like a one sentence saying, "Hey, sorry, like I sort of missed this email, but I'm still interested. If the vacancy is still open," something simple like this, right? Is good enough. If like Shakira said, if you're being approached by a headhunter, you didn't actually apply to a job, then obviously you don't need to apologize. But you should, and you can reply to them, right? If you want to, if you're interested to talk to the headhunter.
Mm-hmm.
Simple and quick tips there, right? So yes, just let everyone who just joined us know that we are taking your questions live. So if you type it from wherever you're watching here, we'll be able to see it, we'll pick it up, and we'll answer it right here, right now, right? So let's move on to, actually we just got a question, right?
Yeah.
From Atika.
Atika, thank you for asking your question. Hello. Let's say we have put all the achievements in the CV, but the recruiter asks if there's any achievements that is not in the CV. How should we answer that question?
Sometimes what the recruiter is trying to do is they're trying to, in a way it's a good thing, right? They're actually looking for positives for you. So they're either maybe the achievements that you already listed, perhaps they don't see it as strong enough. They're looking for more reasons why they want to take the thing forward. Or they just want to see if you suddenly thought of something, right, that you didn't write in the CV. So generally, I think it is a good question. Like if I'm talking to a recruiter, I would advise them to ask a question like this, because not everyone writes a perfect CV. So you can find reasons why you should hire someone. So as for you, I guess the way you should answer is to generally think about that, right? Think about something that perhaps you feel that it's very difficult to put on paper, something that you've actually achieved. I can't think of an exact example right now. When I think of one, I'll let you know. But something that you wouldn't normally put on paper, say like it could be like a personal achievement, maybe something that you don't feel like is very career related, so you didn't put it on your CV. And then you can share that story with the recruiter, because it shows like a certain attitude, right? It ticks off certain boxes and all that. So I would think about, yes, I genuinely think about how to, as in think of an achievement that you actually didn't write on the CV, rather than saying something, oh, I don't have anything else, which might come across a little bit weak.
Yep.
Yeah,
I totally agree. Yeah.
Sometimes, I'm not sure in this context, when you say achievement, is it like a paper certificate, like like an actual certification, right? But I'm sure things that you do sometimes when you're in clubs and society, or when you're in internships, or when you're in work, right? There are some achievements that you don't have a cert to. So highlight those things, those strong points, the strong contributions that you made or so that otherwise you wouldn't have listed it down, because it's not like an actual certification, right?
Yeah.
So the worst answer you can give is like no. That's it.
Yeah, and sometimes like Derek said, there's some things that you think are like not relevant for your CV, so you excluded them. For example, maybe you joined. I'm just pulling from my own experience. Maybe you joined the startup when it was very small, and you helped to sort of organize the company structure, like who should be doing what and where should files be stored, and maybe you set up the whole like Google Team Drive and organize everything and stuff like that. That's not something you typically put on your CV, right? Because it might seem small. It's like, oh, all I did was I just set up like a system and folders and stuff like that. But it actually speaks to more. It speaks about your organization skills. It speaks about taking initiative. So something like that could be a good example of what you would say when this question is asked of you.
Yeah, I think that's all our thoughts for this, right?
Yeah.
So for the people watching, if you have any other ways to approach this, that you can share with Atika, you can just comment down below, right? So now let's move on to the next question by Rachel. Are there any differences between video resume and written resume? Thank you.
Format, right? Like the format is different. That's number one, of course. Yeah.
And I think video resume is more brief. It's a brief story of your background. Whereas written resume is more of you have to talk about every single experience that you have had, work experience that you have had before this, and your achievements and your certificates that we mentioned just now. You will probably list that down in your written resume. But video resume is more it's more brief and more interacting. What's the word?
I think it's more like a cover letter, right?
Yes.
Like resume, your resume or CV is like proper like list of your history, your career history. But like a video resume, a video CV is usually more like a cover letter than a resume. Yeah.
Yeah, so the content of your video cover, I wouldn't overthink it, as in you don't necessarily have to say something fresh that it's not already on your CV. You can summarize the most important thing about you in a short video that it could already be on the CV, but you can summarize it in the video. But most importantly, you have to realize the reason the video versus like a paper kind of version of yourself is the employer is trying to sort of get a sense of you, how you communicate, what you're like and all that, So I think the focus on how you communicate and present yourself, is very important, right? So think about that, right? Not on top of just what you want to say, like how you say is very important. Make sure the lighting is good, you dress well, etc. What's in the background, things that people often take for granted. Yeah, you take it a bit more seriously in video.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to like take multiple takes. My own personal video cover letter, I think I took like 20 times for a 30-minute. I just want to get it right.
30 seconds.
30
Sorry, yeah,
seconds.
30 seconds, right? 30 seconds, I took it like 20 times, and it gets better, right? Maybe I'm just very nervous in front of recording, but don't be discouraged if you feel like you haven't got it, as you keep doing it, repetition will really drill your points, so it feels more natural. You don't really like have to memorize, read off a script. And yeah, there is a huge difference. A lot of time people don't see it as a either or, right? It's more of it accompanies your written resume. It's something that employers see. Really serious candidates who really want to position themselves as different than other candidates would go the extra mile to record a video CV video resume, right?
Yeah.
So Rachel, I'm not sure whether you're a WOBB user yet, but you're in luck because WOBB does have a video cover letter feature. So we do have some quick tips on how you can record a good one over there. So check out our platform, right? So
yeah,
now
you can go
let's
to our
move on
app
to the
or plugging. You can go to our app or to our website and then go to your profile, and you will see like some tips and tricks on what sort of questions you should think about when you're recording your 30-second video cover letter.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So the next question is by Eve. As a recruiter, when you look through someone's CV and see their list of experience, do you do a confirmation to see if what the person had written is true? It's so easy to fake work experience, no?
Yes, the short answer is yes, but I would assume the vast majority of people do not, right? And I think you sort of through the interview, when you ask them like what they've actually done and they explain to you their work, or why they made the decision to join this company, leave this company. I think those are still fundamentally the most important questions. If you're really suspicious about someone's CV, I think there might be a bigger problem there, right? If you get to a point where you're so suspicious whether this person is telling you the truth or not, you might have a bigger issue, right? Rather than just whether it's actually telling the truth. Maybe there's a red flag with this person that you don't think is a good fit for the role. But if you really wanted to check, you could actually, I suppose, contact employers and ask them for like a reference check. And most employers, as a minimum, would at least tell you when this person worked in that company and what role, right? Whether or not they give you a character reference check if you really care. But personally, as a recruiter, I don't think it matters too much. I think overall, when you talk to the person, you know whether or not they're professional, basically, and you wouldn't start off with like distrusting them. There's a big red flag already.
Yeah, completely agree. You should lead with trust first, unless the person gives you reason to be suspicious.
Mm.
Yeah. More often than not, I don't think people would dare to lie. It's like a cardinal sin on a CV or resume, right? Yeah. So the next question by Dylan is, just want to ask if the starting salary for diploma graduates are affected due to the pandemic.
Honest answer is we're not sure.
Yeah.
I can tell you that the market, not salary, as in like the job market is obviously affected, and these things tend to be related, right? So what it means is that if there's a shortage of talent and a lot of jobs, right, then employers, obviously the competition for talent will be stronger, and therefore salaries, I imagine, would tend to go up in that specific field. But if there are not enough jobs and a lot of people looking for jobs, then I can't imagine that to have a positive impact on salary. So I'm not sure if it's gone down, but I imagine at the very least it would have stayed the same.
Yeah, can't really answer that question. But what I've noticed in the market now is that a lot of people are hiring for part-time or freelance, or instead of hiring for full-timers, they look for interns instead. I think people are a bit more wary about spending money, like employers. So they're wary about hiring full-time immediately. That's what I've noticed. Like there's a lot of roles that are that could eventually convert to full-time, but they would rather hire on a less
Right.
committed basis at first lah, and then
Like
sort of
contract, right?
and then use that as a probation period, and then see whether it's a good fit that maybe you'll be converted to full-time after. But in terms of like how much they pay, I mean, we don't really know lah. Yeah.
I mean, Dylan, we can't speak for every company, that's just generally what's going on in the job market. Some companies might be doing okay, and for that company, their salary payout might not be affected, right? So it really depends. But I hope we answered your question, Dylan. So now let's move on to the next question by Farah. Would love to have some tips about changing career or applying for a job that is not related to your degree.
Take up internships.
More popular questions.
Yeah.
About career change.
Take up internships, and I would say put it in your summary. If your short summary on your CV, if your CV is clearly, for example, let's say you're a law student, based on our colleague Kenny. So Kenny was a law student, law graduate, and he was applying to a marketing position. So number one, he applied for internship. Number two, what you should do is put it in your summary. What did you basically, what are you looking forward to? What kind of path are you looking forward to? And that kind of gives like a clearer path to the employer. Basically, the employer would then know why you're applying to this job. Because if you did not put that in your summary and you just apply with the CV that basically, like, for example, Kenny applying to a marketing role with just a legal experience or law graduate without anything that relates to a marketing position in his summary, the probability of the employer disregarding the CV would be very, very high. I mean, like, why would I want to shortlist this person? It's not related to what I'm looking for. So you should probably take that into consideration.
Yep.
That's it, right? That's our thoughts, right?
Yeah.
All right. So next one by Chiu Chris. How to get most out of an internship? 1 month in and I basically pull data and have the Excel sheet open daily. Does interns get the chance to handle a whole project?
So this, of course, varies from company to company, right? Like, it's very highly dependent on the company and the team that you're working in. But I suppose that during the interview, you would have asked, like, what would be your day-to-day when you're working. Maybe if during the interview they said, yes, you would have to do some operational stuff like pulling data, but you would have the opportunity to do other things such as so and so. My first question is, have you asked to do the other projects, the other tasks? Definitely take the initiative to speak to your direct manager, your teammates, to ask, like, what more can you be doing? Say, like, look, I've been doing this for a month. I think I could take on more responsibility, and then ask for it. Definitely, that would be the first step.
Yeah. Number one is like, I mean, I guess you're not really in a situation anymore, but, generally when you look for an internship, right, do make it very clear with during the interview, ask what you're going to be doing, right? Some companies, they hire internship just to do like odd jobs here and there, but some really, really, let the interns have a chance to handle a whole project. But even so, right, some might be, they won't start you on your first day and dump everything on you, expecting you have like 5 years of experience to handle this whole project, right? Some might, start you off with a bit of expectations, right? You will be handling project, like what Shakira said, but you also be handling like all this data task, right? So don't be confused. Like, a job is still a job, and anyhow, it's still like, even when you're in an entry level position, right? You're not even in an entry level position, every job also has some form of like boring part of the work, but it's not going to be like high action every single minute for your job. But I just want to share, like, there's one trap that I see people always get themselves caught in is when they start an internship or they start a fresh graduate job, right? usually the company starts them off with simple tasks. Okay, just to gauge them a bit, just to see whether they can prove themselves. But some people, they straight shut it off and think like, I deserve something better than this. I want to do something more than this, right? Then they very, very simply, very chin cai do the small task. Like these are small things. I don't really want to pay attention to this, right? But what you're doing actually is you're proving that you're not even competent enough to do the small task diligently. So if you have been doing the small task diligently and the company doesn't see you, see your value and doesn't let you handle more challenging tasks, it might just be them overlooking you. In which case, like what Shakira said, you should approach your direct manager like, hey, I'm looking for something more challenging. I'm looking, to raise my standards. I want to help in more important tasks, right? And in that case, likely if they have something for you, they will be happy because they see that you are capable with the task they have been giving you so far, right? So don't take any task as a very small task that doesn't deserve your attention, because that just proves that you're not even trustable with the small task, right? I'm speaking in general here.
Yep.
Definitely make sure that you perform very well in those simple tasks first before moving on to ask for bigger tasks.
Yeah. And if you do awesome in the simple tasks, it's like all the more reason for your manager to give you more responsibility. Yeah. Okay, next question.
Next question. I know, how do you approach a job interview that you may be overqualified for? Do you play it low or showcase your previous achievement? And should you put your expected salary market prices slightly higher?
Taking Eleanor's suggestion for career change is quite similar. Like first, you need to make it known in your CV. What is your goal? So if it's clear from your history that you are overqualified for the job and you're applying for jobs that you know that you have like overqualification for, and you should make it known in your CV, like willing to start from the bottom, or I'm not sure like how far the difference is, but you should make it known. Like let's say you are willing to start from the bottom again, even though you're very experienced, you need to make it known. So like put it in your summary, like have this much of experience, but willing to start fresh again in this industry, because of whatever, like a short like mission statement sort of thing. Yeah, you have to make it clear, because if not, so someone might think like, oh my God, this person has so much experience and I'm only looking for this much experience, so there's no way I'll be able to afford this person. Yeah, so then you might not even get shortlisted. So you do need to make it very clear in your CV.
Yeah, I think if you've been invited for an interview, so I because we don't know the specific context, right? But you believe you're overqualified for the role. But if you've been invited for the interview, that means I don't think the employer necessarily sees that. Like they may think you're fit, or even if you're slightly overqualified, they don't see it as a problem. So don't let that really hang over you. Like you shouldn't play it though in your own words. You should showcase your achievement. You should give people a reason why they think you're good. Because I think for the employer, right, if you're good, that's great. The only question is, like, will they be able to afford you or not? Do you see where it's going, right? You shouldn't purposely kind of make yourself look like you don't achieve as much, right? So it's only when it comes to the part where you want to talk about salary, maybe during the interview, you can openly say that, I'm not sure. Oh, by the way, sidetrack, but it's very related. You wouldn't bring up the question of salary in an interview unless the employer is the one that brings it up. Never be the first person to bring it up. But if the employer does bring it up, you can share with them what your current salary is. If you believe you're over the budget of whatever role they are, you can just give them something to say, but I am open to consider any salary because I like this position, I like this company, etc. 1, 2, 3, whatever reasons. But you move away from the money a little bit, right? And so, but you signal to them that you're willing to consider, even if the salary is not a direct match for what you were hoping for. So hopefully that will lead to an offer.
Yep. Right. So actually, the next question is very interesting, but it's very long, right? So Karen, we really want to answer this question, but we can't. So stay on at the back, and we'll show you how you can get your answers. Your question answered in very much great detail, right? We really want to spend more time on this than just squeezing it in this 1 minute, right? But let's yeah, let's squeeze in one more short one, right? So let's see this one, Tika. Let's say when we have applied for a job, but when the company discloses the salary and we think the salary is underpaid or not worth, not worth with the job description, how to reject it with great manners.
How to reject? Is this question
You're rejecting
just
an interview, is it?
rejecting
I think rejecting an interview.
job offer? I think a job offer. Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure, but in any case, I think it's like after the person found out about the salary, they're not interested in the job already, right?
Would it be worth? The question could also be like, would it be worth negotiating for a fairer salary? Yeah, before like outright rejecting and saying like, oh, they offered me X and it's not worth it. Like maybe before you reject it, you should try to negotiate for a salary that you think would be worth it.
I think it depends on which stage this is happening, right? If you're at the offer stage, then you should definitely negotiate. I'm assuming you're saying that you found out that the salary range is lower during the interview stage, and you're thinking, how do I pull out of this interview? In which case, I think you can be honest though. If they actually volunteer the salary range to you, you can actually say to them, oh, actually, I have an expectation of X, and I'm not sure how open or negotiable this is, but if you are still interested to explore, then I'm open to continue the interview. Something like that. But you sort of declare if you like what salary you're looking for. If it's come to the point where you're about to pull out anyway. So what I'm trying to say is that you have one last try before you just like pull out, because you never know, they might say, okay, sure, we're willing to take it forward and let's see what happens. Right.
Yep.
But if you want to negotiate for a higher salary, make sure you have the substance to back it up from your previous work experiences. Whatever achievements that you have, bring it up when you are justifying why you deserve a higher salary.
Work experience for sure, and also what is market rate for, what is the actual fair market rate? You should do some research. You can do a quick one, just like Google, salary report Malaysia 2020 or something. There's definitely multiple links that you can click on, and then you can check like what is the fair salary range for your experience and the position that you applied for, and then you use that objective data when you're not arguing, when you're negotiating for a fairer price. Like, not arguing. I know I deserve more.
Yeah. I just want to end with this. One thing is, when you're negotiating salary, make sure it's a negotiation and not a demanding argument. By negotiating, what that means is, okay, this company is paying you, like for example, right, 3,000, right? You think you deserve 3,500. Not say, hey, I want 3,500, take it or leave it. Not like that. Talk about, your job scope, right? How you can add value, how you can do a bit beyond your job scope. If you really like that company, if you really want to stay there, you think you can contribute better based on what kind of skills you have, how you can bring what they expect you to do to the next level or do more, for example. And I'm just saying this as a way of negotiating. That's not necessarily, what you have to do, but make sure that there's reason why they should give you that added amount, right? And if it's the interview stage, like for some reason, I'm just assuming because I don't have clarification, but let's say you somehow found out the salary before the interview, right? Sometimes you go into the interview and you show your worth. The company might see your value and they might, be inclined that, they like you so much that, okay, this person asked for this salary, okay lah, we can meet what they want, right? So if you're at that stage, if you can, don't shut off the interview. Sometimes it's just that they just don't know what you're worth yet. And that's just a general salary that they put out.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts to this? If not, then let's let yes, Jeffrey, Muhammad Nazim, Karen, I see your questions. We're going to let you know how you're going to get them answered in further detail even after this live session, right? So that's it. Thank you everyone for joining us today. But before we leave, right, just for the ones who weren't joining us from the very second we started, we do want to let you know that Don Don Donki is hiring right now on wobbjobs.com. Check them out at wobbjobs.com/donkey. You might know them as a very famous Don Quixote, famous retail chain in Japan, right? And you might have, they're also quite famous in Singapore. They just started in Malaysia and they're hiring for the 3 roles. So check them out. It's very interesting. It's awesome. And now, Eleanor, for those who asked questions but didn't get their questions answered, where can they go?
Yes, we would love to answer all of your questions, but unfortunately, this is all the time we have. So you can go to wobbjobs.com/offwork, offwork with an E. That's where you can get advice from us, from other experienced employers as well, and also your peers who will be giving you, basically, advice would be from everywhere. It will be a bit more, what's the word, Brian? That
It's a bit more interactive.
A bit more interactive, and also, because the employers are from different.
The 4 of us.
Yes, because they are from different industries. You will get responses, variety of responses, basically. So yes, head over to wobbjobs.com/offwork. Literally, you can just copy and paste your question right there, and we will answer it for you anytime, any day.
Yes.
See you there, everyone, and especially Jeffrey, Karen, Dr. Nikhil, and Muhammad Nizam. See you there. Looking forward to your questions, right? So if you like this session, give us a like. Tune in next Thursday as well, as we'll be having another pop-up Q&A, and we'll see you around then, right?
Yep. See you guys. Thanks for joining us.
See you. Bye.
Bye.